stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave, home of the
Wow. Thank you, senior high school. What a fantastic way for us to start. I'm half tempted to just leave it at that and end. Yeah, but I'm not gonna. Those of you who think I'm gonna turn this mic down for an hour don't know me very well, apparently. I wanna start, though, by thanking the young people. Their names are up here, both from the drum line and the chorus who sang the national anthem. And I also want anyone in this room, elementary, middle, or high school, who taught any one of those students to just stand up for a second. So those kids don't get there by themselves. Obviously, they have their parents and they have tremendous instruction at senior high school, but something else happened along the way in elementary school, middle school, high school to keep them involved, not only in education, but in extracurricular activities. So I always want to make sure, whether it's graduation, whether it's a presentation like this, that we understand that's a system-wide effort. It's not just about one or two individuals. It takes all of us in this room who impact those students to be able to have the confidence and the ability and the courage to come up here in front of 1,200 people that they respect and perform the way they did. So thank you, senior high school. Thank you, teachers, for putting that together for us. I really just want to start by saying you're welcome. And thank you to the countless hours that many of you have put in over the summer. And we'll touch on some of those things as we move on. But as you know, our custodians, our building and grounds folks put in countless hours to make your buildings spotless for you to bring students into. And this year, with the renovations at senior high school, that took a double effort. So just a huge round of applause for our custodians, our building and grounds folks. We'd also like to welcome not only our staff, but the folks who are here to support us, our school resource officers, our AEA partners, all the people who work with us, so not part of our organization, to make sure our students have a safe and successful experience this year. So welcome to those people as well. As we get started, I would like to recognize the school board members that are here with us tonight. So if you would stand, Lisa Whitman. Tom Barton, Board Vice President Tammy Ryan, who will speak with us in just a moment. And Craig Byteen. Craig is finishing his 8th year as a school board member and has chosen not to run for re-election. So Craig, we appreciate everything you've done for our students and our staff for the past 8 years. So at this time, we'll hear for a few words from Tammy.
Good morning, and welcome back. On behalf of the school board, we are ready for another exciting school year. Over the past 5 years, the board has put forth a strategic plan with a vision for the district to follow. I'm happy to say that this has been embraced from administration down to all teachers and staff, and hopefully unbegrudgingly. We are now set to update our strategic plan. In the last plan, the board really wanted ideas and innovations to be focused at the building and classroom level. We strive to encourage ways to remove obstacles for effective teaching that in the past may have had many unnecessary layers imposed from the district offices that trickled down to the classroom. We wanted that to be flipped. As our superintendent shared last year at this opening, there are many paths to get to the same end result. And all teachers were encouraged to use their craft to do what they do best, and that is teach the best way they know how to reach their students. We will continue to support this philosophy as a board as we update the strategic plan, but we also want to focus on the second most important part in the classroom, and that is the student. As parents, we know 2 kids in our own households learn differently, and teachers, you experience that firsthand. Just as there are many pathways for teachers to teach, there are many pathways for students to learn. What works for one teacher may not work for another, but the end goal and hopefully results are similar. This also applies to the students in your classrooms, and we as a board recognize this. The catchphrase in education for all of us is student achievement. How do we achieve it, and how do we measure it? We can get so caught up in the end result that we forget the product that we're dealing with. Every child that walks through our doors has vastly different experiences when they come to us. We take each child where they are and give them the best education we can. But it is more than math and reading and all other subjects that get tested that determine student achievement. Our job is to expose and encourage students that they can do anything, and learning in the classroom gives them the tools to use to become successful, productive citizens. As a parent myself with a daughter starting her senior year in college, she was encouraged to study something that she can get a job with upon graduation. She was good at math and chose to study accounting and has excelled at it. But her experiences before college has given her the confidence to explore even more and decide what that career choice may be. She has the tools from public speaking, from speech and theater, of leadership from student council, and the academics of math and English that opened many opportunities for her. As she seeks out and choosing what to do after college, all I can say is her experiences leading up to now have helped her to have the choices. Just because she chose to major in accounting, she is not limited to just that. And from what I hear her talking, who knows where she will be headed. It is the school board's job to set that vision and make a pathway available to all students, encouraging them that what they learn in school is a tool, and to know that they can do anything. It is our job to provide and remove obstacles for each and every student to see their individual potential and to encourage them to have their own personal goals. Being a productive citizen will mean something different to each of our students. For some, it may be a bachelor's degree, while for others, it may be an associate's degree, military service, or jumping right into their career. It is our job to encourage and build a foundation with which they can utilize no matter what path they choose. Thank you for what you do each and every day to reach your students. It is not easy, but it is what we do, and it is the most important job there is. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. I hope the community and the folks in this room understand how important it is to have a positive, productive school board. And we have been very, very fortunate to have that board who has, first and foremost, the best interest of students at heart, as well as staff. And so we've been able to make, I think, a significant difference in the past 5-8 years, and due in large part to having such a fantastic, hardworking, dedicated school board who puts in many, many hours every month, often behind the scenes that you don't see. So thank you, Tammy. Thank you, other board members, for what you do. As Tammy mentioned, it's the teacher in the classroom, that one-on-one contact that really makes it different for a student in that moment, but later in their life when they get to wherever it is that they're going, or the first steps. So we know that one of the most important jobs in the district is to make sure we hire the very, very best teacher candidates that are available as we go through the summer. And this has been an extremely busy summer. So I'd like to introduce Phil Kramer, our Human Resource Director, who is in charge of bringing the new staff on board, and he'll do some introductions.
Thank you, Stan. Appreciate it. Yeah, I get the wonderful task of getting to meet all the newbies and all the new people coming into our family here in Dubuque, and I take great joy in that, and I love to see whether it's somebody starting a career or somebody making a career change. It's awesome. I kind of think of, my dream job, well, besides this one, my dream job is like to be like, Theo Epstein of the Cubs, and to put all this team together and, do it in a couple different places. So I kind of got thinking that, so I kind of was pretending that's who I was, hiring people. So I'm thinking, I got some people in AAA ball, I got some AA ball, who am I going to bring up to the big show? And this is the big show. So what I'm going to do today is introduce you to the new members of the team. And some of them just recently drafted. Some of them have been in AAA for a while in some other district, that lower ball, other than Dubuque. So we're bringing them into the big show here today. So let me get my glasses on. And here we go. Should be up there. Okay, coming to the Alta Vista Center, we have Carrie Christensen, Rachel Evanoff, Kelly Helmaniak, and Taylor Malone, who's going to be both Alta Vista and senior. So welcome to them, everyone. At Audubon, we have Allison Brennan coming to us from the single A ball over across the river, bringing her up. And we have Mimi Holsinger, who is actually kind of coming out of retirement, and it's kind of like the, what was that, Major League, where the old guy that couldn't play anymore became the manager. But just kidding, Mimi's wonderful, and Mimi's been going to be at Audubon as a school connectionist. Okay. Carver, Ashley Frank. Eisenhower, we have Sarah Hochberger. Hempstead High School, Susan Ellis, Zach Gogol, Brian Honerbaum, Hannah Kerprick, one of our in the farm system all the way through. Hannah, she's been with us all through her K-12 years. Corinne Torres, coming to us from the West Coast. Harmony Van Neville, Aziza Whalen, Mark West, Amanda Potter, and Greg Mokelstad, who will be a combination of Hempstead and senior. Hoover, welcome rookie Kelly Craybill. Irving Elementary, another rookie who spent a little bit of time with us in spring ball last year, doing a little long-term sub, Haley Wiederholt. I'd also like to introduce to you our new expansion team this year. So we took a lot of people, everybody had to kind of give a little bit to form this team. So Jefferson Middle School, here we go. Michaela Askew, Kyle Bave, Ashley Cottier, Christian Cruz, Michael Decker, Lauren Edwards, Aaron Ellerbach, Nicole Feldhaus, Jennifer Fuller, Savannah Gable, not done yet, Nate Cass, Nate McMullen, Carla Powers, Tristan Randall, Billy Richardson, Timothy Rydell, John Sturdivant, and Angela Unger. How about the new expansion team from Jefferson? I'll tell you what, all of those people that I got a chance to meet with, all of them are just going to be wonderful additions to Jefferson and the work that they're doing there. So I'm excited about that for the Jefferson staff. Kennedy, Elaine Erickson, Lincoln, Megan Henschel, oh yeah, I forgot. I just hired him yesterday, sorry. I was still waiting for the player to be named later, and I haven't heard yet. So we have Kelly Wilson and Jessica Brimar, who was employed there but has changed a position there. So I thought I'd note she was a paraprofessional, is now moving into a new position we have at the Title I school called a School Connection Specialist, and she's going to move into that role. So welcome to them. Marshall Elementary, Lillian Beshin. I should also note at Marshall that we did have a player. It was, they weren't doing too bad, but they were in the big show a few years ago, and we had to send them down to AAA to perfect their game a little bit. So they got a chance down in the AAA ball, a little west of here, to perfect their game, and we brought them back up this year. I'd like to announce Sheila Schmidt. So we welcome Sheila back. Sheila, it's okay, don't worry. I spent 25 years in that league. Okay, it's not bad. Just 1 year is not bad. Okay, Prescott, Cassandra Lopez, Melanie McDonough, Kalia Neal. Roosevelt Middle School, Megan Hoffman, Nancy Homan, James McCrary, Stacy Sigworth. Should also mention James McCrary comes to us with a little trade with Atlanta, the Braves down there in Georgia, so he's up here now with us. Sageville. Nope, sorry. Yeah, right, Sageville. Andrea Beal. Senior high school, Jared Deutsch, Jack Kindle, Kristen Mueller. Table Mound, Megan Sigworth. Washington Middle School, Samantha Hafel, Megan Loos, Nicole Sisler. And our Clark 4+1 teachers this year, those teachers who have graduated have their teaching degree, but will be teaching for us this year, and during that time they'll also earn their master's degree. So we welcome our 4+1 students from Clark. We have Anna Barclay, who will be at Eisenhower, Ellen Funke at Bryant, and Cassie Stufflick at Hoover. So welcome to them. I ask all of you people to do one thing for me, and really for more than me, but find those people in your buildings and say, hi, welcome. That's all you need to do. Especially you people in the big buildings. No excuses to say, oh, I never see them. You go find them. You say, hi, my name is so-and-so. Good to have you here. So find them, seek them out, welcome them, welcome to the family, because this is the best place to be and we want them to stay.
Thanks, Phil. You know, as most of us, hopefully all of you, took some time away this summer to kind of recharge and relax and do the things that you do that kind of make you you so that you can come back and hit it hard for a school year. The principals and the HR department work really hard to hire all of the folks that you just heard about, and they sort through an awful lot of applicants. And you know, it's interesting because Phil and I talk probably almost daily in the summer, and we're looking at this long list of vacancies and difficult positions to fill and thinking, where are these folks going to come from? But you need to know, every time he'd hire somebody or do an interview, he'd come to us, guys, you should meet the person I just interviewed. They're going to be awesome. I just met this person. They're going to be great. We just stole this person from East Dubuque, from West Dubuque, from somewhere else. They're going to be awesome. So we are really, really excited about the new folks that we hired. And as Phil said, please go out of your way to make them feel welcome, because we want all of you to feel that you are part of a family. You know, it's unfortunate that this is the only time during the entire year that we all get together in the same place, but obviously logistically it's just impossible. So it's one of the things that makes this morning special, not only to welcome the new folks, but to talk with old friends. It kind of feels like a wedding reception kind of a feel before we get started, which is why it's so hard for me to get you to sit down, I think. But it's great, whether you're in your first year, mid-career, or whether you've decided this is going to be your last year before retirement. We know that you're going to have a great year because we have a great staff. And again, I want to thank the HR department and the principals for putting that together. Every year we like to start with kind of getting the business out of the way first. We like to review a little bit about our strategic plan. As you all know, 5 years ago, the school board and many of the people in this room helped develop a strategic plan. And we didn't want to be that organization, as many organizations are, who write a strategic plan. Somebody writes down in their calendar, 5 years from now we need to revisit it. And in 5 years comes and goes, and we're thinking, where was that thing? I know I've got a copy of it around here somewhere. We know that for a strategic plan to have any meaning at all, the folks who do the work on a daily basis need to be read into and buy into that strategic plan. So I do like to spend a few minutes this morning, like we do every year, reviewing some of the things we've done last year and what are those focusing events that are going to happen this year. We don't go through all of it. We don't have 3 hours, but I'll try to do this in just a few minutes. So, Mike, if you could bring up some of the highlights from, wow. I don't know if the stage is big enough for me to back up here. So we set our priority initiatives, and I'm going to just talk about 3 of those that I think kind of are at the heart of what we're trying to do. Last year we talked a lot about putting the art and the science back into teaching and giving local control, more autonomy to the school level. And this has been impactful for us, this statement right here. Hopefully at the building level you see how that's impacted you last year and moving into this year. But school leaders will develop new action plans that best suit the individual school needs, supported by district staff and aligned with district goals. So we flipped that upside down. For many, many years we as a district operated that those plans at the district level were formulated first, and buildings were expected to sort of fall in line and follow that. Instead, we talked about many roads to Indianapolis. Here's the goal. You figure out how best to get your students and your staff, your team, where we're going. So I think we've made some big strides that direction, but we've got more work to do. Next slide. Effectively communicate the impact of the physical plant and equipment levy. That was very successful. We had a vote last year, 80%, which is a record high of our community members decided that we should have a continuation of the PEPL levy. The PEPL levy, for those of you who are new or aren't sure what that is, it's a physical plant and equipment levy. It's how we do a lot of repair work in your buildings. We use 1-cent sales tax to build new structures, and by technology, we use the PEPL to maintain existing structures. So it was very important that our community believe in what we do and pass that vote, which they did. Work with the school board to begin the planning process for reviewing, updating, rethinking the district strategic plan. So we've began that process. We'll work on that again this year, trying to commit to a strategic plan in December, maybe November, so that we know where we're going as a district. We have a unified vision. Multiple buildings heading the same direction, taking different paths to get there. We can only do that if we have a strategic plan. So we think that's a valuable exercise for us because we use it on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. As we move forward in June, big letters. As we move forward in June of every year, we set goals for this year. So this year is a little bit different. We have goals, priority initiatives, as well as working on the strategic plan. So if we could see, do you have those to pull out? Okay. I'm just going to go through a couple of them. Launch the Anytime, Anywhere Learning Initiative with enhanced curriculum delivery and new device deployment at the 9th grade level. So it's our beginning steps of moving to a one-to-one or anytime, anyplace initiative at the high school level. We're going to start with 9th grade, working with 9th grade staff that share 9th grade students. If you are at HEMPSTEAD, those 9th graders have been given those laptops. At senior, I believe they're getting them during orientation. So we're very focused on that because not only does that give you a greater teaching tool, but it also brings some equity to our students who don't have access to technology or to the internet at home, which is very, very important to us, that all of our students have the same opportunity to succeed. Maximize learning for students at all levels by enhancing and strengthening general education, special education, co-teaching. How many of you went to the co-teaching conference in Chicago this summer? Fantastic turnout. Everything I hear about that is positive. I appreciate the time you put in over the summer during your break to make sure you learn some new skills to enhance what we can deliver to our students. I understand Dubuque represented probably 40% of all of the participants there. So fantastic job. We thank you for that. It's going to bring good things for our students. Increasing the number of students taking post-secondary coursework with specific emphasis on removing barriers for underrepresented populations. We have a lot of students who take AP classes, a lot of students who are in concurrent enrollment classes with the community colleges. But when you look at the roster of those students, it's not very evenly represented amongst all demographic groups. So we need to look internally at our system and say, why? Why don't we have more women in the industrial tech classes? Why don't we have more minority students in our AP classes? What's the barrier? Is there something that we're doing unintentionally that for some reason doesn't move students through our system to put those in those opportunities? So we're going to look at that, and we're going to encourage all of our students. We want all of our students to walk across the stage at graduation having some post-secondary experience, whether again through the community college, an AP class, an industrial tech class that leads to a career. When I sit at the stage for graduation, I see almost 800 students graduate, and they're excited. They've made it. They've reached a goal, and many of those students have a plan for where life takes them next, but many of them don't. And so what can we do to help those students know what the day after graduation brings? Pilot and make modifications to an elementary standards-based progress report to more effectively communicate student learning to students and families. Raise your hand if you were part of that initiative this summer. This is something we are very, very excited about. And it goes back to one of our other priority initiatives, and that is, or what you heard me say last year, and that's to put some of the decision-making, some of the power, if you will, into the hands of the local experts. So we have had many teachers involved at the elementary level in developing a standards-based report card. That's going to be a game changer, not only in how we communicate with our parents and our students, but in your ability to make individual classroom-based decisions on what's needed by your students. And maybe it's hard to see that connection today, but as we progress through a pilot this year and full implementation next year, it'll be very clear at the elementary level how a standards-based report card, while taking some management skills, is actually an empowering tool to our staff to make decisions that best suit the needs of their class, as opposed to, we make a curriculum adoption and everybody follows that curriculum. Well, the curriculum's important, but you're the professional. You can make decisions about how to implement that curriculum or bring in outside resources. So very excited about that. Very excited about how that is going to change how we teach our students at the elementary level. And then eventually we may move forward to the middle school. As I mentioned, we are in a 5-year rewrite of a strategic plan, which I would be dreading if it weren't a living, breathing document. If it wasn't something that we talked about and used to focus us as a district, I would think, we're going to spend hours and hours and hours creating a document that doesn't mean anything. But we're not there. We're not that organization. We're an organization who creates that, who lives it, who reports it out. It doesn't make any difference if I'm the only one, or myself and the school board understand what the strategic plan is. You have to understand that, know what your connection is. So please take a look at those priority initiatives if you haven't already, and see where that fits into your life. See where we're headed as an organization so that you can understand how you play an important role in that. So every year, I spend some amount of time, it varies, trying to think about what is our message for today. I get one chance to talk to the entire staff. I mean, I look at this like a staff meeting. I know we call it an opening and a convocation, whatever. It's just a staff meeting. This is the only time I get to have the entire staff in one place. So what do we want to talk about? So this year I thought, well, let's look back to where we've been. The first year that I was the superintendent, we heard a video from Kid President that gave us a pep talk as we launched the strategic plan and set out to be more focused on working together. Remember the Kid President video. Year 2, we focused on maximizing our time and using our resources to their full advantage. In year 3, we talked about building a team and the collective strength we have as we face challenging forces in the outside world. Those forces have not gone away, but we have been very successful in not having them have an undue impact on the work you do. And last year, we focused on ensuring that you feel empowered to make a difference, empowered to use your expertise to bring both the art and the science of teaching. We talked about many ways to get to Indianapolis. So as I think about those themes, they all have one thing in common. They're all about us. They're about the adults in the room. And that's a good thing. There's great power here, and we do have to talk about how we work effectively together. But this year I want to focus on the students. So we're going to talk a little bit about students, but to help us get started, as you know, every year I like to bring a few folks up on stage and embarrass them. Sometimes I throw flip-flops, sometimes I draw random names or talk to people in advance. So today, well, these folks don't really know they've been volunteered. So I would like to have, just come down here to the front of the stage, Tiara Gooch, Janie Houselog, Cheryl Richmond, Natalie Hanna, Darren Helkowski, Mike Hoskins, Rebecca Fellenzer, Kim Colpitz, Sue Wilgenbush, Jenny Kress, Tisha Bush, and Louis Fisher. This won't be painful, I promise. We're not going to create a human chair or make you hold things like we have in the past. Mike, do you have a hard copy of these so I don't have to keep looking behind me? Well, maybe I do. All right. There we go. So this year at graduation, we tried something a little different. It was kind of a last-minute decision, and I thank the principals and assistant principals to kind of pull this together at the last minute and make it happen. But one of the things that we were thinking about is how do we make sure our staff knows that the students are graduating? What do they remember? What do they appreciate? What is it about the work that we do that will impact them as we go forward. So we handed out to them a little third sheet of paper that says thank you, and said, if you want to, fill out one of these cards. And when school starts next year, we'll give them to the staff members you addressed them to. 400 thank yous with kids, young people, 18-year-olds, they're not kids anymore, sitting here at graduation practice who didn't need to do anything other than wait for their turn to walk across the streets, filled out a thank you card. 400. That's powerful. So I've selected a few of those, just somewhat randomly, to share this morning. So if I could have maybe the first three come up. And I did leave the student's name off because I didn't ask them permission to share. So this is what one student has to say. Tiara Gooch, I still remember making lemonade in math. It helped me realize that school can be fun. You have still been one of my favorite teachers. Jamie Houselog, I'm afraid I can't truly express my gratitude towards you. No matter my arrogance or attitude, depending on the day, you never gave up on me and always made sure I knew that your arms and ears were open. Thank you for going the extra mile to really connect with not only me, but to all of your students and making us all feel at home in the classroom. Cheryl Richmond, you made my middle school years the best years of my life, so I thank you for that. Awesome. Thank you. If we could have the next three come up. I thought we'd have a bigger stage, we could get them all up here, but we're just going to rotate through them. Natalie Hannon, thank you so much for making kindergarten so enjoyable for me and all of your students and making me excited for the rest of my education. So if you think graduation's just about high school, listen to that. Here's a student who could have thanked anyone, thanked their kindergarten teacher. So talk about the system needing to be in place to impact students. Darren Halkowski, thank you for believing in me when I wanted to give up. I really appreciate the things you did to help me. Mike Hoskins, thanks for pushing me over the limits and making me who I am today. All right, thank you. Rebecca Fellenzer, without your extra help and guidance, I truly wouldn't have made it through high school or through the tough times. Thank you beyond belief. Kim Colpitz, thank you for going above regular teaching duties. Thank you for your class. Through your class, I grew in confidence and skill. I appreciate how you were always concerned about how my life was going and came to my activities even when it wasn't required. You showed me how special a close teacher relationship is. Sue Wilgenbush, I did it. I told you I can do it. Everybody thought I wasn't going to make it, but I did. Thank you, because you were the one that kept me going. Never said, but now I'm telling you, thank you for everything. All right, I'm missing a page. I'm going to turn around. Jenny Kress, thanks for always believing in me. Even though I wasn't always the best, you always made me believe in myself. Tisha Bush, thank you for helping me through all my years at senior. You are the reason I am able to hold my diploma today. Thank you for never giving up on me. And the last one I'll share this morning, Louis Fisher, thank you for being my teacher sophomore year. I'm not sure if you remember, but I struggled a little in your class because it was the first advanced class I took. but you helped me through it and me realize I'm not always going to succeed, and sometimes I might fail, but I've just got to try again. Thank you. So keep that in mind. Kindergarten, elementary, middle school, high school teacher, what you do every day makes a significant impact on someone. As I said, there are 400 of those that I could have chosen. So I kind of randomly just picked some, wanted some elementary, some middle school, some high school. So we will send those out to you in the next few days, so you'll get those in your mail, so that you'll see the students. And those will have the student names on them. I just didn't want to share the student name without asking their permission. But as I read through all 400 of those, and many of them I read multiple times, and these I read many, many times, because the first time you read them, they're kind of hard to get through, because they're heartfelt. These students didn't think about much. They were handed an opportunity to write something on a sheet of paper, and they wrote what was in their gut. They wrote what was in their gut. And I find that when people do that, they get to what's most important to them pretty quickly. They get to their core. And what did they thank you for in those 400? They thanked you for inspiring them, for pushing them, for believing in them, and probably most importantly, for helping them believe in themselves. These messages and notes came from folks all across the academic spectrum. There were some high-flying 4-point plus GPAs, AP students. There were students, as you saw, who would not have graduated without the connection with one specific teacher. That student knows that. That's why they wrote that. So all across the spectrum. So your work is appreciated by them, by us, by their parents. And you know what? Not one person, not one of the 400 said, "Thank you for being an easy teacher. I appreciate the easy A. Thank you for not holding me accountable." Nobody said that. They may not understand it in these terms, but what I hear over and over in these thank yous is that students appreciate it when you help them build resiliency. You help them see their future. You help give them the skills, not only the academic skills, but the social, emotional skills that will help them be successful. And I think that's what we need to focus on this year, is to help our students do this. We have to help them build ownership in their education. I heard a lot of that. You help me not only believe in myself, but you help me understand the importance. To be resilient in the face of failure. We heard that from a student who self-proclaimed they almost didn't graduate. We heard that from an honor student taking an AP class their sophomore year. To believe that their ability to achieve is directly related to their desire to work hard and to persevere, and that they are stronger, smarter, and more resilient than they think they are. How do we do that? We don't hand them the easy A, right? They know that. They didn't say that. If that was going to make them successful, well, they would thank us for being easy. They didn't do that. They said, "Thanks for pushing me. Thanks for helping me believe in myself," because that pushing is what helps them believe in themselves. To do this, we must focus even more on developing lessons that are not only impact knowledge, but help our students learn to think independently, to be creative, to communicate effectively, to be part of a team, and to apply the knowledge that they have gained in their classes. Many of you do this, so don't hear me saying, "I don't think you're not doing this." I know you are, but we have to push even further at all levels to give our students real-world, hands-on learning opportunities that give them an opportunity to fail, learn from that failure, and move forward, because that's what will help them be successful. There's a quote here from Winston Churchill, one of my favorites. "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." We have to help our students understand that and move forward, because they're all going to fail. I worry sometimes about the students who don't fail sometimes. When we get to graduation and we have students who have maxed out their GPA, who have done really well in school, that's a good thing. But I think, have they struggled along the way? Have they faced failure? Have they built resiliency? Because they will. They will. Whether it's in college or university, whether it's in their career, they're going to run into something's not going to go their way. And have we helped them with their parents? It's a parent's job too. We don't own all of that. But our lessons can help them understand how to overcome those setbacks. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Last year, I challenged you to fail fast and fail forward. This year, I challenge you to help your students fail fast and fail forward. So I'm not saying give them a whole bunch of Fs. My phone won't get ringing if you do that. But build scenarios in your classroom that stress all of our students regardless of where they're at. We must push our students to have high expectations around content knowledge, but then to apply that knowledge, because that's what pushes those students who easily get to the content knowledge stage. We must help our students view mistakes. I'm sorry with that. Mistakes must not be viewed as being fatal. Failure, if handled appropriately, can lead to our greatest learning opportunities. But we have to recognize that. Students can't just play it safe. They must take a risk. They must push themselves, know what failure is part of the growth process. They must learn to overcome failure and learn from it. That means we must give them the opportunity to do that. We cannot put them in a scenario where they're so worried about getting an A on a quiz that if they do anything less than that, their final grade is going to be too low. We have to get to a scenario or a teaching situation where all students are put in a scenario where they not only learn content knowledge, but they apply it, and sometimes they fail, but they are given an opportunity to take that failure and turn it into success. I was thinking about an example I might use with that this morning, because I'm a little bit of a procrastinator sometimes. Think about it in a science classroom. Okay, you've got two groups of students doing an experiment. One does it perfectly the first time, boom, 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 this is what they learned, they wrote their report, life is good. Another group screws something up, and the experiment, whatever it is, doesn't work. So should they get a low grade? Or should they be pushed to go back and figure out why? And learn from that mistake, and then ultimately, if they figure out the why and make that work, they've learned as much, maybe more, than the group who learned it in the first place. So I'm encouraging you, I'm asking you to think about your grading practices and how that helps students either move forward with their learning or shuts them down a little bit. It's one of the reasons I'm so excited about our elementary report card, the pilot that we're going to do this year and move forward with, because it really sets up a scenario where kids just know all I have to do is keep trying. If I don't understand something, I come back at it, I come back at it, I come back at it until I learn. That is immensely important for our students. So we have to be careful not to put them in a scenario where all they can do, where they have to succeed at everything. It has to be okay to fail, because they know failing in school is safe. They're going to be given that opportunity, if they work hard and are committed to it, to rectify that situation and actually learn from that and grow from that. Think about that for a minute yourself. Professionally, academically, personally. I'm not going to ask you to share, so you can think whatever you want to think. But when you failed, right? We've all failed. Some of us have had bigger failures than others. It's how you handled that mattered. And we're going to talk, we're not going to, somebody much smarter than I is going to share some of that next week, next Monday when they talk about Train Ugly. But think about when you failed. What did you do with that? Did you give in to that failure? Or did you do something about it? I'll tell you a story that a few in the room know, probably not most of you. I struggled to read. Both my parents were teachers. I think I drove them crazy. Third grade, reading recovery, summer school, not enough. Redid third grade. Could have given up, but I had two parents who wouldn't let that happen. A lot of teachers who pushed, and that wasn't going to be anything other than another attempt. Since that time, I think I've overcome that failure pretty well. So Our students, depends on the day. So I think we have to start to view failure. You know, there's that saying, first attempt in learning. There's lots of things around failure that is good for our students. So are we pushing them enough? Are we strong enough, brave enough to help them fail and help them learn from that failure? Is it time for the video? Okay. Mike keeps me on track a little bit. Every year, of course, we have Felicia and her team and Mike develop a video for us just to kind of help set the mood. And I think they do it because then they can put it on the agenda and say, shut up and play the video. So that's what I'll do.
Why are you here? Is it to teach students? To bus children? To fix a projector? Well, probably. But you know that's not all. You're not just a math teacher, a bus driver, or an IT specialist. You're also a guardian, watching carefully over our strong yet brittle youth who are unaware of the impact they carry every day. A page turner, helping students see that their chapters are just beginning, that they have a story, and right now, it's just a prequel. A coach, who encourages students' failures as much as their successes, because failure can't happen without trying, and it's the trying that leads to success. It's trying that is the win. You are an architect that uncovers barriers obstructing our students' potential, but instead of abandoning, you help draft bridges. All of us are all of this for all of them. While each of our students have a name, a background, and a future, not all have yet discovered that they have value, meaning, and the ability to achieve greatness. And it's not our job to find it for them. It's not our job to do their work. Our job is to be the guardian, the page turner, the coach, and the architect. To be the person that believes, inspires, and empowers our students so they believe and are empowered to do it for themselves. Once that happens, their life changes.
The first time I met a teacher, I was nervous, but my teachers taught me how to read and write words. Then after 3 months, I started talking in English. I was really proud.
I can say that I've actually done something to make a difference. I would have never been able to actually do this at any other school except for here.
I know if I do something wrong, it's okay because he'll be there trying to help me throughout the whole process of learning.
I love how they never have to yell at people when they're doing the wrong thing, and when they say, have a good smile all day.
There's all these great things that they're doing that are just trying to help us have a better learning experience and to make new friends. It's good to always show them that they can be who they want to be and they can be powerful. We're going to be the future and we can make a difference.
Let's not miss our opportunity to help every student see their opportunity, to see that they can be confident, be hopeful, be dreamers, learners, and believers. Let's help all students see that they can be.
Thanks, guys. Always a fantastic video. So we'll get that on our site and let the community see that as well. So as you reflect on this video, remember that we need to look for ways to engage our students, to speak to their heart, to find their passion, to make it come alive. Give the chance to affect the lives of, who knows, a future Olympian, a president, a social worker, a nurse, a welder, and on and on. You knew all those things before I told you. My goal here today is just to remind you of that fact, that this is a fantastic day. To me, it is one of the very best days of the year because it means we're getting ready to bring those 10,600 students back into our schools, back into our classrooms to empower them with the knowledge and the skills that they're going to need to be successful to be the next generation. You know, you watch the news, it's far from a perfect world out there. We need to do a great job with these kids because when we're old and gray, they're going to be in charge and they're going to have some problems to fix, I'm afraid. So don't let that opportunity slip past you. Work hard. I know you already do that. Believe in all of your students. Don't be afraid to put them in situations where they will struggle and fail. Some of the parents won't like that, but it's good for their students to learn the resiliency of overcoming a setback. Please know that our mission at the Forum is to help set a vision and a direction, but it's also, most importantly, to support the work that you do. Don't be afraid to ask your principal to us, whomever, how can we support you? If there's something that you need, obviously financial limitations, those types of things have an impact, but we're here to help. We will always find a solution. Next Monday, thanks to the Teacher Quality Committee and the funds that they have, we're going to take a little deeper dive into the growth mindset. I certainly am not the expert on that, but we're going to hear from the expert on that. The expert on that will be in Dubuque next week, so we are extremely excited about that. Quote from there, we're built to learn through struggles and from mistakes. Embrace the fear, enjoy the challenge, and grow. So go have a fantastic school year. Enjoy what you do. Know that what you do matters more than almost anything else I can imagine spending your career doing. The students are excited to be coming back. The parents are really excited to be sending their students back. It's going to be a fantastic year. I was a little nervous when I woke up. I have a couple of boxers. I woke up this morning. They woke me up at 3 in the morning, and I got outside, and I couldn't see my neighbor's house. So I hope that's not an omen because of the fog, if you were up early. So I hope that's not an omen of the weather that's to come. But whatever it is, we're going to have a fantastic school year. So thank you, and have a great 17-18 school year.